Oh, they say I'm in the show. Okay, plug in. Ooh, yeah, we are. Yes, I can hear you, brother. Can you hear me? Sorry, guys, I'm like 15 minutes late. I guess I can take my mask off. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, brother man. Are you there? Can't see his connection. I'm good. And you, brother? My name is Paulo, and people call me Paulo Jazz. Some people call me Papin. And yeah, I'm a musician. Uh, I'm Angolan and Congolese at the same time. I have Congolese root and Angolan root as well. So I'm in between these two countries, and I love music. I've been playing music for a very long time. I'm a music director. I'm a vocal coach. I'm an instrument player, and I'm a motivational speaker as well. I'm a preacher. I'm, I'm a producer. I'm a sound engineer. Yeah. And I'm a mechatronics engineer also. That's what I studied at school. And I live in Cape Town. I'm based in Cape Town. I love Jesus. There, I can hear. I think I can hear you now. Hello. Hello. Connection is too bad. Now I can hear you, but sometimes your the video is kind of going off. But now I can hear you. Yes. Yeah, I think you can. Okay, that's a good question. And my career started, I think, by the age of 7. Actually, that's where my musical journey started to show up. We had a family band. I remember my uncle used to play keyboard, and when my whole family were converted, so my uncle would always bring a piano, would bring a keyboard home, and then he would start playing. He was playing almost all the instruments, and then we're gonna sing all of us, make songs, and all the family. We used to live like a lot of people in one house, and that's why I started to have that passion. My uncle's name is Miguel, so that was it by the age of 7. And when I reached, I think 13, then I joined the choir, and I started singing at the choir and at normal choir at church. And then after a couple of years, our choir became a band, like an instrument, full band. And a couple of months before we became a full band, I became the director of the choir. Like I was too small, like I was still a small boy. I remember they would put a brick or they'll put something for me to stand on top so that I can be tall, and then I'll be, kind of directing the choir. Yeah, and after then, I started to go places. I started to go to other bands as well to start learn music. And at the age of 15 or 16, I started to learn a guitar. Yeah, and then I went to a music school as well, professionally, the music center, where my late teacher, Lepre, taught me how to play jazz. And people started to call me jazz. And my music career started to show off, and more and more and more people started to know me, and in Angola, and some of the people that come from Congo that they were also in Angola started to to take my name outside Angola. Yeah, but now today I'm here in South Africa for 10 years. Yeah, my influences, it's first, as I can say, it came from my family first of all. As I said, my uncle used to play. My uncle is actually a great musician, and he's a pastor as well. So I always wanted to be like him and play all the instruments and sing. But outside him, I also had some other external influences. I'm speaking musically. I'm not trying to speak spiritually, because obviously in spirit we know that our role model is Jesus Christ. But personally, his influence on me was so strong that I really wanted to play like him, play guitar, play other instruments, and sing. Yeah, I think if I have to say one person, it's gonna be him. If I have to add two, it's gonna be Smokey Norfolk who is a musician that I've listened a lot all my life. He's an American musician. And as well, Kuma Tope, who is a Congolese musician as well, and who has influenced people like me and some other young people as well in Congo, Angola, and Africa, and all over Africa. Yeah, I know my uncle has a lot of songs, but there's this song that he used to sing, like it was a uh, which song? Which song of my uncle would I sing? There's a lot of songs, but there's a song that he wrote for my family, for our family, um, the birth that we've been through and everything that happened. He wrote this other song. It's called Testimony in Lingala. It's called Témoignage, and it's very nice. Let me just remember the song. It was Nayoke Mozambe, Nayoloku Mozambe, Kumba Malivela, Yeselonga Nanga, Osalinga Lisanga Yabai, Babalola Misuna Yekulusu, Nazimotuya Nabomu, Nazumbi Natina Yokela Kanga. Yeah, and that's my uncle's song. And Kumatope, Kumatope is a lot of that. It's like, Yesu Nalingio, Yesu Nalingio, oh, Ozali Zambe, Zambe na Mama, Bisika Kufa Ezali, Nazila na Kristo, Yopesaka Bomo, Ivoso na Yawe, Zambe na Kuma Melio, Mosusu Lukola Yo, Papa Monani te, Yawe nanga, Zambe Bisopana na Yo, Toto Molimba Poko. Zambe nangu ya, Zambe na beka musuni malamu pe. That's a very nice song. Yeah, yeah, and Smoking Awful, like, yeah, Smoking Awful has a lot of songs, and like, feels so good to make it this far. Yeah, which means dear God, and yeah, those are people that influenced me, and some jazz. When it's come to instruments, it's jazz. Jazz has nothing to do with gospel. I will be talking about Ella Fitzgerald, West Montgomery, some people don't really know, but yeah. Mm, okay, you kind of cutting. I don't know if I'm still on, but if I have to say the role of artists in a society, and I mean, first we have to determine, like, can you hear me? Are you there? Perfect. So first we have to first understand, like, what an artist, because when you're an artist, you're not only a musician. Artist can be a painter, can be a designer, can be a comedian, can be a who else? Artists, a lot of artists, movie artists, and you get a lot of artists and dancer and people that dance as well. So there's a lot of aspect, but I think in a musical context, if we have to stay here, and I mean, people when they call art an artist in music or drama or anything, it's more for entertainment. People call it entertaining. That means in the world they say entertaining. That means to to give people some pleasure, some a reason to smile, a reason to feel good through your talent. But artists are way, way far from just entertaining people. I think being an artist, it's a lot. Being an artist, at first, it's a lot of responsibility because artists, they are people that carry values, you know, they carry physical and moral values. So artists, they're also people that carry culture, they transmit culture, they make that exchange of culture within the world. And artists, they are also people that bring peace if we have to go deep into moral values, and artists can bring a lot of things, can bring change. We can talk about apartheid. you know there are people like Papa Wemba, there are people like Mira Makeba, there are so many artists like Yusundu who has fought, and they fought so that the apartheid may end. And you speak about in the war in Angola, 28 years, but there were artists like Bonga, like Teta Landu, people that stood and made the change with the music, with what they carry, you know. So an artist is way more than what we just see, you know. And that's what I always say, that in gospel level, we are very limited. People are avoiding to speak about some of the things. People are avoiding to just go a little bit outside of the context, of what we learn in church. But there's so many things happening out there that we can also sing about it. We can also educate people. We can also, an artist, sorry, just to mention this, is also a person that educate people. And that's why it's important for an artist to know what you transmit, what you sing, because whatever word that come out of your song, whatever writing that you write, it has to educate people. It has to give people some value. So your songs either destroy or it build people, you know. So you have to know about what you write, because what you write, people listen to it, and it has influence in the entire world. I always say, look, one song can destroy a whole nation. You know, only one song can destroy a whole nation. I can prove you to that. The Bible, if if you watch the story of Rwanda, between the war between the Tutu and the Hutu, you will know that the radio was the way that they use, you understand, in order to kill the Tutsi. I think it was the Tutsi killing the Hutu killing the Tutsi. So that was the one of the way they used it was the radio. And in the radio, they were not just saying that we're gonna kill the Tutsi and things like that. No, but they had a song that they used to sing. And every time they will play that song to say that now we are the Hutu, Rwanda belongs to the Hutu and all those things, they made it like a song. Every Hutu knew that song. And that song is a song that gave a revolution in their mind. That song is a song that used to bring anger. Every time they listen, they used to play it every day. Every day they will play that song, they will play that song. And that concept, the concept of that song, the word that was in that song, like was so powerful that it took the heart of the Hutu and led them to go and kill the Tutsi. You see how powerful a song can be. Only one song playing over and over at radio, but it could do such a thing. So it's really important for an artist to really understand what you sing. And as I said, what you sing as an influence. We have a role to educate. We have the role to carry the culture. We have the role to carry a peace, you know. We have the role to be the voice of the nation, you know. Uh, a little bit of delay, I think. Mm. Mm. Over the time. Okay, okay. I think, yeah, I think practice does not really change, because there's so many ways that an artist can practice, right? There's so many ways you can rehearse. There's so many ways you can learn. There's so many other ways. Because I can tell you something. There's a difference within a musician that only focus on playing and the musician that focus on the knowledge. So knowledge and play, they must go together. You can't leave one and then just focus on another. There's a certain way a musician should practice. Like me, let's say when I started to play guitar, I was more focused on knowing my guitar, of course, knowing my instrument, knowing my vocal ranges and all the stuff, to know my limits and to know which are the keys that I can, which are the scale that I do, which are the scale that I can't do, and how do I incorporate this scale to this one. And it was more about that. It was more about the technique and trying to be in that moment when you're like crazy. But I think now that I understand not everything, but now that I understand most of the things, I focus more on being me, being me, like on focusing on the thing that I want to become. So I focus more on what Paulo wants to become. So I know the kind of music that I want to do, and I know the kind of lyrics that I want to write, and I know, okay, this music I want it to go to this specific people, and this is how it should be. So now I think that should be the way. I think, I don't know if you understand. There is a point that I'm trying. So now I focus more on painting, on coloring, on designing that picture until I see it with my eyes. So that's what I practice more. I don't practice like other people practice, but I practice most of the time. You will see me like sitting and holding my guitar and thinking. And you might think like I'm just holding it for pleasure, but I'm actually practicing. Why? Because I'm holding that guitar. I'm like, okay, there's a certain scale that people play like this, and how do I make it sound like this? How do I give it a certain color? There's a certain way people sing. What? How do I make it different? How do I sing the same thing, but still sound like Paulo jazz only? And then even if the person is in whatever he is, but that person can feel that this one is Paulo jazz. So I'm more into building my concept and than just practicing as anybody else. Yeah, preach. Yeah, that was the recommendation of Jesus Christ. Jesus said that we have to preach. Okay. Oh, why are the gospel musicians now becoming pastors? Okay, that's a good question. That's a good question. A little bit tricky, a little bit polemic, but it's it's a good question because that's what we are experiencing, in today's generation. And I think, first of all, to say, to be honest, there's nothing wrong, on with people becoming pastors, because I mean we need more pastors. We need more pastors. It is important for us to have pastors because every day people die, every day, and people get sick. So those people need some replacement. And among those people that die, I believe, I'm not trying to be negative, but they are also pastors. They are also men of God that also get sick. So we need some other new people to come and stand also for the gospel. Yeah, but I think also in the bad thing is becoming a pastor because you saw somebody becoming a pastor. I think pastor is more about um, the calling of God, you know, because to become a pastor is not you go to a Bible school and then you say, no, I'm a pastor. No, because you have to have that calling of a ministry, you know, within the five ministry which the Bible tells us about. It's really important to also make the difference between pastorship, you understand, and pastor in certain, because pastor is just a meaning of somebody that take care of the sheep. That's what pastor means. It's just a name. You understand? But you can also become a pastor, but still being a musician, still staying a musician. You understand? You are a pastor. Why? Because why must you always have a church? You understand? I think there's no reason for people the people want to have church, but people don't want to be pastor. I don't know if you understand. People want more to have a church. They want to have a certain people which uh, they will command and which they will give instruction. People want to have that dominion over people, and that's why they go to becoming pastors. But I think pastor is more about having the calling. You understand? And when you have the calling of God, I mean, there's nobody that can stop you. You understand? And also, people are taking it as a job. You understand? As something, they will get money and things like that. They have discovered that there's money in becoming a pastor. You get tithe, you get this, you get that, and that's why people are becoming pastors, because the thing like the income in music is not enough, and they must get more. But I'm just emphasizing for those that have calling. I believe that a person can start as a musician, but still that person had a calling as a pastor, and he can become a pastor, and he can even have a church. But it's not meant to everybody. Some people are meant to just be musician. You can have that pastorship, but you use it within the music environment. That means if I'm a pastor, yes, because if I'm a pastor, it doesn't mean that I must have a church. I can also have a pastor, a music pastor. You understand? A music pastor. That means I go places and I convert people. I teach people music. I make worship leaders for the church. You are a pastor. Why? Because you are taking care of the sheep, which is what? Which is the people, the nation of God. And you make those people musicians. It doesn't mean you must always have a church, a big church, a massive church, a mega church where you preach and where you get tithe and all those. No, that is a pastor as a ministry. Understand? But there's a pastor as the way, or yeah. Yeah, connection is bad. Connection problem. Mm, we back, we back, we back, we back. I can hear you, brother. Mm. Yes, definitely. As I said, for you to become a pastor, it is a calling. It's not by preaching because there are so many people out there that can preach. Preaching is the same as giving speech. Do you understand? And there are so many people with talented to give speech. Do you understand? But it doesn't mean that those people they also have the ability to become pastor. Understand? Sorry, when I convert speech into preaching, I'm talking about being having that ability to speak in front of people. But I'm not trying to say that every speech it's preaching. So, but for you to become a pastor as the ministry, you need to have a calling. You can go to a Bible school, you can go to any in America or everywhere in the world. But if you don't have a calling, it's nothing. It is nothing because your Bible school does not make you a pastor. The Bible school just gives you knowledge. And God is not a God that you can study God. You can't have your book of 200 pages and say that I'm studying God, or you go to a Bible because that the Bible school is a study that study God, which doesn't make sense to me sometimes because you can't study God. How would you use your one pen and 200-page book and say that you have studied God? So in that 200 page, when you feel it, you understood God. You can't understand God. Understand? Even the Bible said that His ways are not our ways. Understand? It's never you. It's dementedly crazy for you to say that you understand God or you have studied God. You can't study God. You cannot study God. When you go to a Bible school, you just probably for you to get maybe the chronology and things like that, the event that happened in the Bible to understand it better. But for you to become a pastor, you must have a calling, what they call a calling. You know God by revelation. You don't know God because you have read the Bible. Once you read the Bible, there must be a revelation of what you read. So God must come and reveal you to understand what you read, for you to understand. The Bible said that Philip was reading. Understand? There was this African that was reading. Sorry, he was reading the Bible, but he couldn't understand. But God has to send Philip in order to go and explain. You understand? Explain. The Bible says that even the queen Beersheba, I think that is the name, the queen from Ethiopia, that went to travel all the ways in order to meet Solomon, so that you understand the wisdom. There's no way you can just understand God by going to a Bible school or by reading your Bible. No, God is God by revelation. It's by revelation. God is God, like like in the Bible we have the story of let me say this name. The name is a little bit complicated, which it's writing, but is one of the prophet that Abraham met in the prophet in which Abraham gave the tithe. If you see in the Bible, you'll find that story. You understand? And you will see that that prophet, they didn't even speak about where he came from, where what he did, or it's his past. They just said that Abraham met him and Abraham gave him his tithe. That means he was superior comparing to Abraham. You understand? And that is how you know God by revelation. They didn't tell us where that man come from, and that is the nature of God. God is God by revelation. He comes, he revealed to you only. He comes and revealed to me. He comes and revealed to whoever. You understand? And if God is a God of revelation, and then God revealed himself to each and to each and every one of us. Now imagine how many concepts or revelation or how many studies of God do we have in the world? Now, if you have to tell me that you yourself, you have studied God, I won't believe you, because God revealed himself into people. And the experience with God is the experience that you have with God, what he has done in your life. You understand? That's why Abraham will say that now he is a Jehovah what? Jireh, the God that provides. And it's because Abraham have seen God providing, in the mountain of Gethsemane. You understand? I think what is the scariest event that has occurred that has occurs in my career? Is that the question? Oh, the scariest. There's a lot of experience. I've experienced a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of things, and but I remember one day it was a concert of this brother. This is something that stays in my mind. It was a concert of this brother Clovis Makola. He came in Angola in my church to do a concert, and then we were asked in order to, we call it Alevele Rido, like to sing before he sings, to be the band that will perform before he comes. And people, there were a lot of people, because my church in Angola, it's a very big church, which I greet all the people from Saya Venezia. So, and my leader called me in order for me to lead the praise. And for all that we know, that in praise, when you praise, people dance and people are happy. And when you worship, that's the concept that we had before. When you worship, and then it's more slow song, and people can bow down, people can cry out to the Lord and just worshiping God. So I was doing the praise, which we call louange, and it was a very powerful praise. It was power. It took us like 15 or 20 minutes just praise and praise. And when we ended the praise, like, hey, boom, I'm telling you, people started to speak in tongues. People started to fall. Some people were screaming. And it was very scary to me. I was like, oh, no, the concept that I know of praise It's that people must dance, and at the end, people clap and people are happy. But that day, it was really scary. Even my leader came and asked me, Paulo, what's happening? I'm like, I don't know what happened. We just did the prayer that people started to fall and people started to cry and people started to understand. It was a very scary moment for me because I mean that's I know musicians that are there to sing at church. I know that this experience is a very scarce experience. Experience to present in a church. If I have to speak one, but there's some other more experience, of course, that I've experienced it and experienced. I've seen people playing guitar like this at church and then it just fall boom, then he passed away. And I've seen a lot of things. Mm. That I've been given, or what is the best piece of advice that I have given people, man? What the best piece of advice I could give people? Is that what the question is? If there is an advice that I can give, today is Youth Day. Oh wow, Youth Day, Youth Day. It's a beautiful day. It's a very historical day in South Africa, where young people in Soweto they couldn't take the oppression of the apartheid anymore. And young people in Soweto, they went outside and they said, no, 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 enough is enough. Today we want our freedom. And those young people were attacked by police um, and by the oppression. And many of these young people lost their life. And that's why this day of 16th of June has been chosen as Youth Day in South Africa, in memory of all those young people that lost their life in order to for us to have the South African that we have today. Very peaceful country, although crimes around and others abuse around, which we still fighting, but a very beautiful country and a very blessed country that we have today. So we give that memory to those young people because they were so brave to do what they do, you know. And if I would have given an advice, uh, my advice will definitely be for young people that are into music, young people that want to serve God. And some young people want to sing, the others who just want to sing. They don't want their music to be identified as gospel or not, uh, which is their opinion, and I respect the opinion. Although I really would like them to do gospel, I really would like them to give the gift that God has given them for them to give it back to God, because there's a blessing hidden there. And my advice is like this: in life, in everything we do in life, or when we live in the world, we always want to have something in which we abide on, something that sustain us, something that hold us. You understand? Something that we love to do. You know, it can be like an addiction, if I can say. We all have that kind of thing. But for you to be successful in life, or to know what are you abiding on as young men, what addiction do you have, and what is that addiction bringing into your life, and where is that addiction going to take you? If you can think like this, you will really know how to lead your life, and you will know where to put your step. Because if you abiding or your addiction is drug, and obviously you'll get arrested somewhere and then you'll go to jail. Drug will mess up your hormones and your system, and you're gonna die. If it's prostitution, You will get HIV. You can get, an unexpected or unprepared pregnancy, and so many stuff. But if you abide on the law, if you abide in Jesus, Jesus will not harm you. You know, he even said that, that you come and give me your load, and I'm gonna give you mine. That is not so heavy. You understand? So you have to know as a young people, what are you abiding on? If your addiction is for you to just drink and drink every day, where is drinking gonna take you? You understand? If it's for you to smoke and all those stuff, and what is smoking? Where is it gonna take you? If it's not gonna take you anywhere, then you rather just stop it. You rather do or abide yourself, or lay on, or be addicted to something that's gonna bless you, or something gonna do good into your health, than you having an addiction or something that will destroy you. That is my advice for young people. And for those who want to do music, practice more, and know what you're doing. Don't just do music because you feel like, "Oh, this other guy was doing music." Have ambition in music. Music is good. Music is really good. Music can make you a very beautiful person, can make you a very known person, a very rich person. Music can give you a lot of things. So it's really important for you to know where you're stepping in. My goal is for me to to be a blessing into the music industry. I know I've been a blessing for some people, but I want to be a blessing for the whole nation of the world. So my goal is to do something that will bring musicians together, and I'm currently working on that goal. I'm currently working on the project, which I'm not gonna reveal yet, but it's a big project. It's a very big project that I'm doing. I need the assistance of a lot of people that studied university and things. But by the grace of God, I've got some people, and some people from university, some people that did web develop web developing, and some people did websites, and things like that. Some people did accounting. So we're all working together in this amazing project, which I'm not going to mention the name yet, but the project is coming there very soon, and the world will know what Paulo just has been working on. And yeah, I think it's going to bless a lot of musicians. And just to mention, it's not only going to say for it's going to be for gospel musicians, but it's going to be for all musicians in the world. It's going to be for all musicians. It's a very good platform that we're trying to create. We're trying to build. Now music is going with the online and process and all these online and implementations, and that's what we're trying to do. We're working on that project. We are already far now, and we hope by the grace of the grace of God, we are going to finish the project. And when it's done, we're gonna come here to real talk to present you the project. Yeah, I think everybody that does something, that loves something, and feels good when you're doing that specific thing, because I mean then you find yourself, you know, on your purpose, and there's nothing better than discovering your own purpose. You know, there's nothing greater even on discovering your own purpose. I think that is one of the things that touched me a lot about Jesus, because Jesus grew up knowing who he was. Even at the age of 12, people were asking him questions. A lot of people who got them, people that knew the wise men of that time, of that time, will surround him and asking him questions. And he answered all those questions. Why? Because Jesus knew who he was, and he had no shame. You know, he was never scared to do what he was born for. And I think that is me. I'm not ashamed. I feel very good when I help people at studio. I feel good working with people at studio, you know. And there are those musicians that give you like a headache, and but we're still there, and I feel good about it. Why? Because I was born to do music. I was born to direct people. I was born to teach people. You know, there's nothing better, nothing make me more, happy than to teach people what I know. I like to transmit my mind. I like to take whatever I have here in mind and also make people to be just like me or even better than me. And that's my purpose. And it's never bothered me to stay 10 hours at studio, to stay 12 hours. People that are around me will tell you that I spend time in studio. And if something is not good, I will sit there until we make it perfect. And that's how people is not just about music, but that's how we should be in life. We should be happy when we do something that we love. And I love what I do. Hmm. I think this COVID as of course I'm not gonna be um, trying to be different from my other colleague musicians. You know, COVID has messed up a lot of plan. COVID have you know and have destroyed even careers and stuff like that. But we just have to take a look on the situation, and what we have to think is, okay, how do we survive? How do we still make music although we have COVID? You know, how do we still transmit to people all those values, and how do we do whatever we're doing, and we still being in COVID time? Because when you find yourself into situation, if you stay and start, mourning or crying about the situation, it's not gonna change still. But if you can stand up and say, okay, I'm gonna wipe my tears and I'm gonna find out how to get out of this situation, and that's how you become a successful person. Because I think me, I'm more focused on how do we live with COVID and still doing music, and that's why I told you that we're building a platform. We're trying to work with web developers and all the stuff in order to create a platform that's better for musicians. And music, of course, it's not the same anymore. We used to sing and be close to people and dance and all that. I think that we can't do anymore. Now we have to be distant from one another, at least 1 meter, and which will restrain a lot of musical value, because music is also one of the things that bring that togetherness as value. And one of those value has been broken now by COVID. But still we can do music, and music has been done. There are people doing concert online, and I recommend people to support, even if you have to pay like some, like $10 or $20 for you participate, do it because you want to also help the life of musicians, and also to just give a shout at government and other and how can I call it, other institutions that can also help musicians. I think that's gonna be good because the time that we're going, it's not easy. I'm talking about online, and it's not everybody that knows how to use all this online and technology thing. I think some people, somebody that is there in deep down in Congo and somewhere in Balubakati there, and cannot really know how to use maybe an Instagram, or maybe how to look for session live, to do a live concert, and then they pay you something. So those people are really going through a hard time because that's what they used to do to perform. Now they can't perform, and I mean, I assume that some of them have houses, some of them have bills to pay, and it's not easy. It's not really easy. But if the government, and as I said, other institutions can also help, people of good faith, people that can support music, can say that, okay, me from now on, I'll be using my iTunes, as a player, as a music player in my phone, so that I can be able to buy music on iTunes and buy music on Deezer, and just to support musicians. It's gonna be a good thing. I mean, if you love something, you gotta support it. If you don't support it, that thing is gonna be destroyed. Of course, music is not gonna be destroyed. We're still there. We're standing strong, and I'm giving shout out to all musicians in the world, and yeah, not only gospel but all musicians, for us to really think, for us to support one another in this moment, for us to also stand and fight against COVID, of course, with all the scientists. And there's even a song that I'm preparing, in order to just speak about this. And we have to be strong. We have to stand all together and fight this. And I'm sure that we are already more than conqueror through Jesus Christ. Hmm. Thank you so much, Rolly, and thank you for inviting me and all the team of Real Talk. Yeah, I mean, my God bless you guys. Thank you for the consideration. I know you just started this, and I'm sure it's gonna get big. Yeah, and for my video to be the first to be on this page, and yo, thank you, man. I'm blessed, man. I feel blessed, and yeah, I don't know, man. I'm really grateful, Rolly, to have you as a brother.